it's Mike at Cross Country Mortgage, and it's time for your Monday morning mortgage update for the week of August the 14th. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. The end of last week, I was in Dallas for a couple days on business and learned a ton about our industry and all the new stuff and new tactics and tools that I'm going to be sharing with you. And you think it's hot here in the North State. I got off that plane on Thursday and 107. And it was kind of a humid heat. Got to love our dry heat, but it wasn't that bad. Dallas is a pretty cool place. The weekend, spent time on the lake, rode my bike. Gail and I hiked, had a nice weekend. So let's talk about what happened last week and what's going to happen this week. I always try to give you tools, tips, tactics, things that you can use to go out and have those conversations with your buyers and sellers, answer the questions that they all have about what's going on. Should they buy? Should they not buy? So what happened last week? Last week we saw mortgage-backed securities go down 57 basis points. That means rates got worse. Why? Two reasons: inflation and inflation. So why two reasons? Because two reports came out, CPI and PPI on Thursday and Friday. And basically these are reports that come out every single month. And they showed inflation was getting worse. And inflation is the kryptonite of mortgage rates. If inflation goes up, mortgage rates are going to go up. Why is that? Well, mortgage rates are traded in the bond market. And when money flows into that bond market, mortgage rates are going down. When money flows out of the bond market, mortgage rates are going up. And people buy bonds as part of your 401ks, your retirement, day traders, minute-by-minute traders, foreign investors. They all invest in our U.S. bond market because it's the most stable, secure bond market in the world. And so why does that impact rates? Well, think about this. If you have $1 million in bonds and your yield on that is 5%, that's the rate, and inflation is 1%, then your return, 1 minus 5 is 4%. You're getting a good return or acceptable return. If you have now that same bond, $1 million in bonds and your yield's 5%, but now inflation has crept up to 3%, now you're only getting a 2% return. So what happens when the U.S. Treasury sells bonds, corporate bonds? Those bonds, to make them more attractive, they raise the yield or the rate goes up so that investors get a return, and it really goes in line with inflation. As inflation goes up, those bonds go up. I mean, heck, that's why you can invest in bonds and actually get a really decent rate of a rate right now, a return rate, because inflation's going up. So until inflation starts to creep down, we're just going to see mortgage rates stay higher. And these two reports that came out last week showed inflation is not going up as much, but it is still not under control. And that's why the Fed's raising the Fed fund rate to try to lower inflation. So let's talk about the three things that we're going to look at this week. I always try to give you three things that are going to impact the market and rates. First one is retail sales. Second one is the Fed. And the last one is some economic data that's not going to have much impact. But let's talk about retail sales. So Tuesday, tomorrow, retail sales reports come out. They come out every month. And this is showing us what we all buy. What are we buying? Consumers, you and I, what are we buying? And there's two ways to look at retail sales. Are sales going up because we're buying more stuff, or are sales going up because we're paying more for it? So if inflation's here, then obviously you would think that we're paying more stuff. And why does this matter? Well, last week, a report came out that showed the U.S. credit card debt reached a level never seen before, $1 trillion in U.S. credit card debt. Huge, massive number, record number, okay? And so if we have this high number, are people using credit cards, or why are they using these credit cards at such a historical level? Are they buying more stuff, or are they using credit cards to pay their bills? And these retail sales reports that are going to come out tomorrow are going to give us a real clear idea of what's happening. If consumers are buying more stuff, that would give us a reason why these credit card debts are going up. And trust me, the credit card debt's going up is not a good thing. But if they're buying more stuff, that's why. If they're not buying more stuff, then it's showing that credit card debt levels are going up because they're paying their bills. And so if we see a weak retail sales number, that actually could be good for mortgage rates. If we see a strong retail sales number, that means the economy is doing well because people are buying more stuff, then that's not going to be good for rates. So we'll look tomorrow, see what happens. The second thing is the Fed. So we know the Fed on July 27th met in their meetings. They meet about every month and a half, and they raise a Fed fund rate to fight inflation. Well, now they come out with the minutes. What did they actually say? And this is going to be pretty impactful for the market. Are they on track to raise the Fed fund rate again in September, maybe again November 1st? We don't know. The bond traders, again, where mortgage-backed securities are traded, and the bond traders always look long-term. They're not looking at the stock market up and down. They don't think the Fed's going to raise the rate in September. And these minutes will either tell us yes or no. So we'll be paying a lot of attention to those minutes. They're coming out Wednesday. And then the last thing is economic data. There's really not much economic data in the for our economy this week. It's a light week generally for economic data. So we're going to be paying a lot of attention to other countries, a ton of economic data with other economies. We're a global economy. So we're going to be paying attention to that. There is one report that's coming out Thursday, and that's initial jobless claims. This comes out every single Thursday. But this week is going to be impactful because it's going to tell us, do we have more jobless claims? The jobs numbers have been have been stronger than expected, but the underlying data within those job numbers over the last couple of months have been very suspect. A lot of people accuse the Biden administration of cooking the books. Other people said that the numbers have to be tweaked based on what's happening in our economy. So these initial jobless claims are going to be impactful. And so we're going to be watching those on Thursday to see if there's more jobs added or more initial jobless claims being added. So what are we looking at this week? We expect a pretty volatile week. Last week, we were in a locking position for most of the week, but we're going to be starting out floating, quickly moving to a locking position if we see the market deteriorate. And there is an opportunity maybe that rates will get better, will actually lower this week. So if you have any questions, please let me know. All my information is down below. Have an awesome, productive weekend and a week. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.